Hi, my name is Michael Esch, and earlier this year, 2010, I, along with my brothers Marv and Kevin, and our friends Merlin King and Jamie Smooker, took a trip into the hills of Northeast India. Now, this was my fourth trip to India in the last 5 years, and as always, it was an amazing time of seeing old friends and meeting new ones, trying new foods, and just a lot of other great experiences that happen when you are in a different culture for a few months. It was also a wonderful time of reconnecting with the children that became part of my family during my time of working with the India Children's Choir. But there was one part of the trip that was a definite highlight for all of us, and that's what I want to talk about in this video. Now, some of you know the story of the Mar tribe of Northeast India very well. They were headhunters, literally. In 1910, a missionary went to their tribe and preached the gospel, and I'm not going to go into a lot of detail about the story in this video, but if you have not heard it, I encourage you to pick up a copy of the movie Beyond the Next Mountain or the book Fire on the Hills. Both tell the story in great detail and are available through Bibles for the World. In a nutshell, the gospel totally transformed this tribe of people, and today they are 98% Christian. Well, 2010 is the 100th year anniversary of the coming of the gospel, and it was a time for great celebration. The trip that we took was to Centenary, a very remote village and the place where the gospel was first preached to the Mar people. This video is around 30 minutes long, but we've broken it up into 4 segments. The first segment is about traveling to Centenary, which was an experience in itself. And the next 2 are about the Gospel Centenary celebration in Centenary. And then the final segment is about the Rock Barak River trip, which was also a part of the celebration. It was an experience that words cannot describe, but we hope that you can get a small taste of what it was like through this video. We left the city of Aizawl on Wednesday, January 20th, and headed back into the remote hills of Northeast India. These are some of the remotest parts left in India and probably some of the most remote areas in the world. We drove for about 6 hours and then made a brief stop in the village of Kanpui, a small village along the way where Bibles for the World runs a school. Merlin sponsors a child from that school, so we stopped there to meet him. And even though school was not in session during that time, almost the entire school showed up to welcome us there. We drove for a few more hours that day to the village of Sukurdai. We spent the night there in a government guest house, and the following morning we hit the road once again. Now, up until this point, the roads had actually been pretty good, but it did not take long until they got bad. And then worse. Some of you may remember the river crossing from the video of last year's trip. Well, the water level was quite a bit lower this time around, so the crossing was not as dramatic as the last one. No, getting across was not the problem, but getting up the opposite bank was. One of the vehicles needed some help from us. And the other one needed a little more than that. Apparently the leaf spring broke at some point during the crossing, and after our driver spent an hour or so patching it up, we were on our way again. And the roads got, you guessed it, even worse. As we got closer and closer to our destination, we met a lot of other people who were traveling there too, some by vehicle, and some who traveled for hours or even days by foot. We finally reached Senvan late that afternoon and were welcomed by some dear friends of mine who had reached there a few days before.